Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Head the Operator. We're getting right into this live reaction of Codie Sanchez. Let's get it right into this reaction.
Is this you? You're working every day, trying to keep up with the bills, never quite breaking free of them. That was actually me too. I was right there with you. But now I've escaped the rat race. It really comes down to 7 very easy habits that they never teach you. And some of them are weird. Number 3 might even piss some people off. But I'm not just gonna tell you about these habits. I actually want to help you visually remember them to make change. This is all based on neuroscience. So we will actually, by the end of this video, change the way you think about money. All I can
Oh, y'all know I study neuroscience, so this is up my alley. If this video is gonna be heavily based on neuroscience.
do is talk from experience. And these are the ones that made a difference for me. Starting with the lizard brain trick. So do I lift him like this? I don't know, I'm so freaked out to squish him. Your brain is actively working against you getting rich, and most people have no idea it's happening. You know, you wake up, you crush a morning routine, you send 40 emails, you sit in 3 Zoom calls, and you color code your calendar. But you feel like a machine at the end of the day. Then you look at your bank account, it's exactly where it was yesterday, and that feeling sucks. There are 2 problems, and both of them come from what I call your lizard brain. So firstly, I like lizards.
I like turtles.
But I don't like your lizard brain because it can't tell the difference between sending an email and closing a $10,000 deal. Neurologically, it registers as task completed and fires the same dopamine hit whether you reorganize your desktop for 2 hours or signed a contract.
I'm not being a stickler, but the actual neurological term is reptilian brain. If you guys are curious, if you want to like study it or look into it, reptilian brain. So I like this. She coined it as lizard brain, but reptilian brain.
So it's this like chemical good feeling that isn't really productive at all. The other problem with your lizard brain is that it's lazy. Sorry, little guy. You see, it pulls you towards the easier thing because the easier task gets completed faster, which means more dopamine sooner. So your lizard brain is trying to make you feel good right now, not make you rich. So my first habit every morning, before you pick up your phone, I want you to write 1 line. The one task that, if done and done only, it actually makes you money. So I want you to do that before touching anything else. Because once you have beaten this little guy, the next problem is that most of what you're chasing is entirely wrong. And so I think we should break down the next habit. They'll make you throw your vision board in the trash, but it might actually be a good thing. Anti-goals before goals. So most goal setting advice tells you to get clear on what you want. But Charlie Munger thought that was the wrong place to start. And I think he was right. Every time I'm setting financial targets for something, whether this is my year, a new business, a new investment, I write the anti-goals first before putting a single goal on the page. Like, I don't want to make less than $20,000 a year, you know? I don't want to work for 70 hours a week, although I actually do. I don't want to be financial.
So I'm familiar with Charlie Munger. That was Warren Buffett's right-hand man. So, and he just passed recently. I don't know if it was a year or 2 ago, but he passed away at, I think Warren is 95. So he passed away at 99, somewhere in his 90s. He was at least 95 years old. Anyways, I don't know if this is the same thing as his inversion theory, which the inversion theory is essentially where you list out the goal, but then you also do the inverse effect where you say, hey, this is going to guarantee that I fail. And it's very interesting because once you notice like, okay, these aren't just the inputs I need to do to become successful, but these are the wrong steps I can do to become a failure or be unsuccessful. So I wonder if that's what she's about to get into, because what did she just call it? Let's see if she say it again.
Dependent on another person. I don't want to go into debt to look wealthy. That's true. And then I write what I do want. Munger calls this inversion, and he used it for everything. So instead of asking,
let me see. Hold on. Let's read it. I just said it. I think it's called an inversion theory, if I'm not mistaken. A problem-solving technique where you look at a problem backwards by asking how to guarantee failure instead of success, and then avoiding those pitfalls. Bingo. Okay, so that's what she's getting at. The way she went about it, with her framework, it was quite interesting.
Do want, ask what you do not want. You probably skip this and you go straight to the dream board. But writing down the don't want list forces you to see something. Your wants and your don't wants are on a seesaw. Both can't sit at the top. If you don't want to work 70 hours a week and you want to make $500,000 a year, those are going to be in direct tension. So you might have to pick which one wins, at least for a period, and let the other one slide down. Most people never make that choice. So here's your second habit. I want you to take a piece of paper, line down the middle, left what you want, right what you don't want. Rank each side and see where they conflict, and then choose your seesaw winner. That one decision tells you more about your financial future than any business plan you've written. Think about this. I want to make over $500K a year. I don't want to work more than 70 hours. Well, one of these is going to have to go for a first period. And that's okay. People, have lots of feelings.
So if I was you guys, what I would do instead, because let me go back a little bit.
About $500K future, and then choose right two. Okay. Take a piece of paper, line down the middle. Left what you want, right what you don't want. Rank each side and see where they conflict, and then choose your seesaw winner. That one decision tells you more about your financial future than any business plan.
Okay, so she's saying write down what you want on one side, write down what you don't want on one side, what you do want on the other. The only thing about that is that obviously the things that you don't want is the things that you need to do. So I actually like the pure definition of what Charlie Munger was getting at with the inversion theory, is that no, have that goal in mind, but then on the other side, what I would recommend you guys to do is state what would guarantee that this won't work if you go about it this way. That's the slight tweak that I would critique on doing it this way, because obviously the things because she has it on there is anti-goals. I'm not going to say it doesn't make any sense because we're listing these things out, but the thing that you don't want to do is obviously, the thing that's going to cause imminent failure. So let's keep going.
You've written. Think about this. I want to make over $500K a year. I don't want to work more than 70 hours. Well, one of these is going to have to go for a first period. And that's okay. People, have lots of feelings about this. But I think that if you choose the things you don't want, it makes really clear what you are willing to do to get there. Now, the next habit is the one I get the most pushback on. Some people call it elitist, but from my personal experience, it's damn hard to argue with. I call it fire your friends.
By the way, her editing team, production team, voila, goodness gracious.
Phoenix, right? And I bet your hometown has this too. There's a great bar there called Patty's. But every time I go back, the same characters are there, the same conversations. It's kind of like a record on repeat. Do you have a place like that? If I had stayed, I'd still probably be there. This is like an anchor, your city. It becomes something that holds you back. When you're in your hometown, everyone who knows you, they knew you when you were 17, and so they love you. But that love is your 17-year-old self, and they've anchored to it. These people around you, they'll pull you without realizing it toward the old version of yourself, the one that feels safe and normal to them. And so when you leave, something different happens, kind of magical. Nobody there knows your old story. You get to be someone your hometown hasn't ever met before. And that blank slate lets you build a different story before anyone can correct you back to the old one. If you want to do high-level things in life, if you want to make a ton of money, you have to be around people who have already done those things. People who have done it, not people thinking about it, or people who almost did it, or...
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, and it's not just from a financial aspect. That's any aspect of life. If you want to become more consistent with working out, then be around people that's heavily drenched in being a gym rat and going to the gym. If you want to become more healthy, you want to eat healthier, stay on a stricter diet, maybe get into either not Herbalife, but what's another one? Maybe Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers, they typically eat like TV dinners and stuff. What's another good example? It's not coming to mind, but that's what anything, not just financial, the environment is everything. So what she was saying was, hey, people remember the old you. Yeah, because people remember when you used to pick boogers. People remember when you used to do this. People used to remember when you used to lack and do the same thing that they've done. So it almost, it can somewhat correlate to the crab in the barrel mentality if some look at it in that way. And sometimes people subconsciously do it because, like she said, it's not only that you're trying to break away and do something more productive and constructive in your life, and it's discomfortable, it brings discomfort and it's uncomfortable to you, but it's also uncomfortable to the people that's around you that was always comfortable with the old you. This is why a lot of people, when they want to be successful, if not just in finances, but just in successful in many aspects of life, they have to move out of their hometown for most people because your environment has that hard of a grip on you, that tight of a grip on you.
People who want to talk shit about the people even trying it. This is almost never located in the same zip code where you grew up. And so I want you to constantly do one thing. If you haven't moved from your hometown, it's about time, even for a few months. I want you to look around you and say, where are my anchors today? Do I live in a place that doesn't have opportunity? Am I hanging out with people who really haven't tried to achieve much of anything? If they're pushing you towards your goals, great. If not,
let me touch on that too. And the reason why she's saying do that is because you're going to see the stark contrast. When you move somewhere, you normally don't know anybody. So what happens is you say, oh, all of your old habits where it's like, hey, let me link up with my friends, whatever. You like, I don't have no friends. So what you do to fill that time is you either do a lot of self-improvement when it's just you, or what you do is you get around other people that's on the same type of time you on. And what time is that? That can be business, once again, working out, stuff, whatever. And that's why it's so effective, because it forces you in that environment where it's like, I don't have nobody. I don't have a comfort zone anymore. So it just accelerates that process.
it's time to go. It's time to go somewhere new, just long enough that you have time to become someone different, right? Maybe the person that you actually want to become. Because you are allowed to be a totally different human 1 year from now. This is actually what we are supposed to do, but nobody wants you to do it. And if you think about this mentality when you apply it to money, it actually cuts through more noise than any other framework. Because you don't have to do more things, you have to cut off the things that are holding you back. This next lesson I learned on Wall Street, and
I've always said that, it's not about just adding a bunch of things in your life. Most of the time, life is about the removal process and keeping life simple. Everybody wants these complex things, but the quickest way to get to anything, they always say this, right? What's the fastest way to get from point A to point B in a straight line? And people want to do all of this zigzag stuff and making life harder than what it has to be.
Never would have if I hadn't been behind the curtain. So I'm going to share it with you. I call it killing complexity. The financial industry actually makes more money selling you things that are complex than it ever will selling you things that are simple. If someone wants to sell you a crypto trading system that takes 3 hours a day for a year to master a 32-step financial freedom blueprint, or more than that, a 50-page legal contract that goes with your mutual fund report that you can't even read, and inside of it, they're slowly stealing all of your money with something called basis points. Why? Because when something is complex, it feels like it's smart, like you're getting the real thing. And complexity is profitable to sell to people searching for a shortcut or who want to give the...
Exactly. And to that point, that's why over at Operator Network, over at my private school community, I have a free course, and then I also have another course in there, and you will find it over there. And we keep it simple over there, extremely simple and practical. So you may look at it from on the surface level and be like, this is it. Yes, these are the things that you need to make your life simple and to be more disciplined, focused, and consistent. Not all of this, hey guys, I'm not in there about to ask you guys, hey, or tell you guys, hey, this is the morning routine. The morning routine, you need to get up, put your hands on your head, and do 20 pirouettes, sit and meditate for 5 hours before you start your day. I'm not telling you stuff like that. No, these are going to be practical steps that a lot of people undermine, because in this world where people want to sell to you all this complexity, you forget the simple things that actually push the needle for yourself. So wholeheartedly agree.
Reins to somebody else. So every time I'm looking at making money, I sort of apply one filter to it, which is, what's the simplest version of this that could work? If And I ask myself this question, which is, what if it was easy? And it comes from kind of a famous idea called Occam's razor, which says the simplest explanation is the most likely. And so philosophers use it to dismantle conspiracy.
Look at that's funny. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Who would have thought? Look, I just said, what's the easiest way to get from point A to point B? A straight line. She just drew it out. I didn't think, wow, that's actually what's up. See, she understands it.
Simplest explanation comes from kind of a famous idea called Occam's razor, which says the simplest explanation is the most likely. And so philosophers use it to dismantle conspiracy theories, right? Birds are CIA agents. I don't know. People think that the entire global government is secretly coordinating a world takeover. But have you ever met a government employee? I mean, most of these people, they could barely keep their own lights on. You think they're going to orchestrate a global takeover? I don't know. They're probably just really inefficient, highly incapable, overwhelmed people stuck in a broken system. And so if you
I don't know about that, Cody.
apply the same razor to money and you want to make more of it, well, then you negotiate a raise. You get a better paying job. You make more offers. You buy a small local business. Those four.
Hold on. Let's read that. Negotiating a raise. All right. Getting a better job. Highest probability, buying a small business, current state, financial success. Okay.
Negotiate a raise. You get a better paying job. You make more offers. You buy a small local business. Those four things done by someone with average intelligence like me, maybe like you, those people, as long as you show up, it turns out they've produced more millionaires than every complicated strategy combined. And certainly way more than if you just do what people on Wall Street tell you to do.
You finally found a broker on Wall Street that you can trust.
So what's the habit there? At least for myself, every time you're tempted by something complex, ask yourself, what is the boring, obvious version of that?
What if the most important book
No, absolutely. What is the boring, obvious version of this? That's what we do over at Operator Network. Y'all get into that community. You can click the link down below and in the description below. Let's book a call. Let's get you together. I got you. So, she talking again. Hold on.
Know what to do, you wait, you consume, you plan, and then your bank account doesn't actually move. So I
think I'm gonna stop the video right here. That's why I want to get into Operator Network, what we do very well. We keep it simple. We're not trying to just make it complex to sound smart. These are practical things that you're gonna be like, this is all I have to do. Yes, and we're only focused on the number one priority in your life. We're not trying to add 20 things. What I say earlier in this live stream, I said we're not trying to add 20 things into your life to make it super complex so it just feel like you just accomplishing so much. No, what we're going to do is going to be more of a removal process so we can be more efficient and we can knock out the number one priority for you. If you enjoy this reaction, like, comment, share this video. I appreciate you guys as always. Next Sunday, well, this upcoming Sunday, I will be just doing a face to face, just me and you chopping it up type of style of video. It's not going to be a reaction, but we'll get into it. So, hey, don't be stuck and done forever. Let's learn and grow together. It's Hef. I'm out.